I'm making over this entire room for just $100. I have no idea if this is gonna work, so let's see if it turns into my dream room or a regret. But this is more than a budget makeover. It's a reclamation project for a room that felt haunted in more ways than one. So there's the usual things. Footsteps upstairs, the sound of trickling water, and an attic door that opens on its own in the middle of the night. But there's something else too. This room is holding on to a vision that never got to be realized. A plan that was shared until it wasn't. So I gave myself $100 and one goal. Use what I had, find what I could, and make this room mine. It's not the transformation that I wanted, but it's a turning point. I've been putting this off for a long time, partly because the room felt haunted and partly because this wallpaper didn't feel like mine. But some things only change when you do. And yeah, technically you're not supposed to paint over wallpaper. But I broke a rule in the name of reclaiming something that was already mine. I've learned I'm not here to follow the rules, so I break them when they don't fit what I'm building. And when you see what I'm doing next, you'll get why painting the wallpaper doesn't really matter. When you're on a tight budget, you learn to look in unlikely places. The side of the road if I'm lucky, the forest, Facebook Marketplace. This time it was a stranger's driveway and a free pile of abandoned wood. I saw the lattice and thought, that's it. When you can't afford to source everything brand new, you have to get creative. And when you want a calm vibe with a neutral palette, you let texture do the talking. If we're being honest, painting this is probably going to take me 85 years. But we don't have a big budget, but we have sweat equity. So that's what's going to make it amazing. I didn't choose the colors in this room, but they lingered, like a ghost from a design plan that fell apart before it ever got finished. Then one day I was sitting in my swing chair, nibbling chocolate and looking at my nails, and I realized that soft green I've loved for years. In cafes, in city corners, in my camera roll, it was never random. It was waiting for me to see it. I went to Home Depot and pulled a swatch off the wall. I didn't need to sample a dozen shades, I just knew. And just like that, the trim was about to become something new, something mine, with this as a soft green thread winding through the whole house. I liked this mauve, but it's too dark for this space. This muted green sage color is perfect. Just wait till you see how it dries. We have about a fifth of a can of paint left and that much. So we're just gonna make it with a quart, which is so exciting. I bought this art in a $5 frenzy. I loved the size, I saw potential, it looked cool in the store, and then I brought it home and it looked like a joke. It clashed with the wallpaper, the frame looked plastic. What are they doing? Are they plotting? One is full on Chanel, and the other one is like the knockoff you buy after a man on the street leads you to an upstairs back room. But I couldn't let it go. Something about it wanted to be seen. So I gave it a tiny glow up. Just a little gold rub and buff to help it shine. This made a huge difference, and now it feels like what it always wanted to be. Slightly unhinged, but unmistakably iconic. This one's inspired by one of the first DIY projects I ever made. Back when I was terrified to use power tools, I went to Home Depot, I had them cut all the wood for me, I brought it home, and I just screwed it together. 2018, a girl, a drill, and absolutely no clue. Just in case you're wondering how far we've come. 2 boards and a couple of brackets. You assemble it with just some screws and wood glue. You can add some character to your wood to make it look antique. Honestly, the more busted she looks, the better. It's one of the easiest and most affordable builds, even for beginners. I finished it with a moody stain I picked for this project. That's it. Simple, solid, and one of the best low-budget builds I've ever done. There's this path behind my house that I found last year. You have to walk past 2 graveyards to get to it. By the river, surrounded by these massive dawn redwoods. They're rare and ancient. The kind of trees that make you feel like you're part of something older. Then one day, I found it. This giant stick, freshly fallen from one of the redwoods. It felt like a gift, so I took it home. Because sometimes a walk in the woods sends you home with lumber. This stick inspired the best idea, so I thrifted a belt. Okay. I cut it into 4 even pieces. Then I folded them in half and screwed 2 of them into the wall. And then I have a lot of these in my closet already. So then I'll be able to like hang stuff off of it. Just a fallen branch and a thrifted belt holding it all up. And now there's room for all my favorite accessories. 0 hardware, huge impact. I hung up one of my favorite DIY art pieces that was already in the room. Since this stick was so big, I had a ton left over, so I kept going. I cut down a smaller piece and then drilled some holes all the way through. When you walk into the room, there's a straight sight line to the doorway, so I wanted to soften that and add a little privacy without closing it off. I got this basic white curtain that's kind of a linen texture. And instead of curtain rings, I cut the loop at one end, pulled the fabric through, and tied a knot to hold it in place. I mounted the whole thing to the ceiling using the last 2 pieces of that thrifted belt. It added just enough coverage and some really good texture. This one came together because nothing else worked. I tried thrifting, scrolling marketplace, even planned to build a headboard with some free scrap wood that was water damaged, so I pivoted. I found this velvet curtain panel at Home Depot and the color felt right. Deeper than the sage trim, more grounded, like a mossy green. Here's where I had to get creative. I looped the center through a curtain ring. I stuffed a sock in there to hold it. Just to be clear, this is not a crusty sock situation. I used a fresh one. Then I hung it from a wall hook I already had. I pulled each side out with a little drape and tack. That's it. No foam, no plywood, a curtain pretending to be a headboard, and honestly, pulling it off. So here we are, in the same room, but everything feels different. I didn't start from scratch. I worked with what I had, painted over the past, and covered what didn't feel like mine, and pulled together something that finally does. This wasn't about doing it perfectly. It was about getting unstuck and making a little progress in a room that had been waiting on me. Two curtain panels, a couple of quarts of paint, a thrifted belt, a stick from the woods, and a bench I built from 2 boards. And now, it's no longer stuck, and neither am I. If you want to see more projects like this, or just hang out while we figure it out together, hit that subscribe button. We have many more things to tackle, and as always, now go make something.
Now I found the flow.